Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Boob Talk with your host, Cynthia Rogers. Listen as we discuss the issues breast cancer and cancer survivors face. Come along on our journey. We are survivors. Welcome to Boob Talk. I'm your host, Cynthia Rogers. Thank you for joining me this evening. Tonight, we are going to be discussing living that CBD life with Life is Green. Our special guest tonight is Jennifer Green, owner of Life is Green. Miss Jennifer, welcome to Boob Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Jennifer, can you tell us what is CBD and how does it exactly work?
Okay, well, let's see. CBD is often confused. It's something that is often spoken of, but very widely misunderstood. So CBD is short for cannabidiol, and that is a naturally occurring element of the hemp plant. So just to where the confusion comes in is hemp is of the same species. It's cannabis sativa, so it's the same species as marijuana. Marijuana tends to have higher levels of THC, so, it has psychoactive qualities that can cause some intoxication or other feelings. And cannabidiol, or CBD, coming from the hemp plant, has very little THC and therefore no psychoactive effects, no intoxicating effects, I should say.
Okay. So basically, from the hemp, you're not going to get high, right?
No.
For the most part.
It won't get you high. It'd be very disappointing to someone who wanted to get high. But cannabis sativa actually has over 100 cannabinoids. THC and CBD are both classified as cannabinoids, and as I said, they're naturally occurring chemicals found in cannabis plants, so either marijuana or hemp. What we're talking about today, CBD, is derived from hemp, so I'll leave the marijuana topic alone. I'm not against marijuana by any means, but CBD is just a great cannabinoid. It offers many of the properties that medicinal marijuana offers without the high, and in certain cases, it even exceeds the ability of marijuana and THC to help with certain ailments.
So would you say that the CBD from the hemp would be beneficial for cancer survivors?
Well, CBD is, in my opinion, just beneficial to everyone on different levels.
Okay.
And I have to preface this by saying that, CBD, because it has been widely studied, but it is a natural product, there are some limitations on the claims we can make about CBD. So the FDA is especially strict on what you can and cannot say about CBD. So we have to always preface our statements by saying that, it's not intended to cure or treat any disease. It's not approved by the FDA, but there's a caveat because there is a drug that is being used that has been approved by the FDA, that the main ingredient in that drug is CBD, and that drug is used to treat seizures. So the name of that drug happens to be Epidiolex. And so, while the FDA says, well, okay, you can't make these claims, we have to be very specific or very careful about what we say CBD can and cannot do. Epidiolex has been approved by the FDA, and it's my understanding through legitimate sources that other drugs that would treat other things in addition to seizures like depression, anxiety, inflammation, they're also being studied and in process of being made into prescription drugs. And the main ingredient of that drug, like Epidiolex for seizures, will be CBD.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So now when you ask about how it specifically could help cancer patients, I'm not a cancer expert, but by any means, but I do know that many types of cancer are started as a result of inflammation. And CBD is excellent in reducing inflammation. It has a quality that definitely gets to the root of inflammation. We have a few clients, regular clients that have been taking CBD for some time who are seeing wonderful benefits. One of our clients has actually had prostate cancer for many years. Now, this gentleman had the longevity gene and wasn't suffering any of the typical symptoms of prostate cancer, but his numbers would go up. And again, I'm not a cancer expert, but when they do his PSA test, they would go to a certain level. So say if they'd be over 10, around 13, then he'd have to take a chemotherapy pill to control that. And he was doing that over the years. But once he started taking CBD, he was taking our brand of CBD, which is a full spectrum, pure CBD, and he had taken that for 4 or 5 months. The numbers went down drastically. And we've had a couple of other people, and even his doctors were saying, oh, wow, this is great. It's a miracle. You know, some doctors are really on board with CBD. Others may not have as much information as they need to really be able to endorse it. But we do have a couple of other patients that happen to be cancer survivors that have taken the CBD. One of our clients actually has stomach cancer, and that it's been very beneficial. We have a couple of clients who have battled breast cancer, and they are getting good results, good numbers. And again, I won't say by any means that CBD cures cancer or makes tumors go away, but there has been significant research that shows that cannabidiol does have the ability to shrink tumors and definitely reduce inflammation. Again, that can cause certain types of cancer. And it actually has, there were some studies done way back, I think around 2010, 2012, on the efficacy of CBD in breast cancer patients, and they were seeing some really good results, shrinking tumors and just, you know, doing some really good things that were increasing the survival percentages, you know, really giving people a really great chance, a better chance to be able to beat the cancer that they were fighting.
That is really wonderful news to hear. Like you were saying earlier, I think there's just been this whole big misconception around the CBD, people thinking, you know, that it's going to get you high like marijuana, and so as you just, you know, were saying earlier, that's really not the case at all.
Yeah, right. It doesn't get you high at all. And actually, CBD is legal. And it was taken off of the list for dangerous drugs, for lack of a better description, by the FDA. So it's something that's acceptable, and it's not. It is legal. However, like you said, there's just such a big misconception, and even with the FDA and others that have to regulate the growth and sales of CBD, if you went to a industrial hemp farm or some, you know, a hemp farm anywhere from California to New York, it would be very difficult at times to be able to tell whether or not you were looking at marijuana or hemp. So, you know, if you show somebody a picture of hemp leaf, most people are going to think, if they're not familiar with hemp and CBD, they're going to think it's marijuana. So, of course, they're going to associate it with high. Now, some of the clients that we have, whether cancer patients or they're suffering from other chronic ailments, or some people are just having problems with anxiety, you know, insomnia, and many of them have tried THC or marijuana. So they've tried, gummies or, you know, vaping or, you know, maybe even smoking marijuana to help with symptoms. I know that many cancer patients were using marijuana or had tried marijuana to alleviate some of the side effects from chemotherapy or sometimes to help increase appetite and things like that. But what I've heard from some is that, you know, they want the benefit and because they want to feel better, but they don't want the altered state of mind. So that's the great thing about CBD. You can get these benefits and you can still maintain a clear head.
So, Ms. Jennifer, tell me, how did you even get involved with CBD? How did you start your company, Life is Green?
Oh, okay. Well, as I mentioned, the CBD for seizure disorders, epilepsy, and the drug that has been now approved by the FDA, Epidiolex for seizures. About 3, almost 4 years ago, my husband and I, Emil, who was also my business partner, we started doing some research. He actually started the research. Our granddaughter, who is now 7, she was diagnosed with a seizure disorder. So she was having focal seizures, which is a mild seizure disorder, but her neurologist, she's a micropreemie, so she had some different issues, you know, just she was born at 23 weeks, and there were other issues related to the seizures that the neurologist thought that she needed to go on seizure medication to prevent it from progressing and turning into grand mal seizures and becoming a more serious condition. Well, we were concerned because with the little knowledge that we had on seizure disorders, we were concerned that some of the medications that were prescribed may, once again, alter your state of mind. So since she already had a developmental delay, being born at such a young age and having other issues, we didn't want her to be slowed down, or we didn't want to, you know, we didn't want medication to make her drowsy or prevent her from learning. So my partner in life and business, Emil, he started doing some research, and he found CBD. We'd never even heard of it. I hadn't. And he discovered CBD, or he learned about CBD, I should say, because he was doing this research on seizure disorders in children, especially with seizures. There was a group of parents in Virginia, I believe. CBD wasn't legal then, and, you know, it wasn't considered legal in the U.S. at the time. There were certain restrictions in many states. And this group of parents, were working with a group, or, you know, some farmers who had extracted CBD, and they had done some research, and they had determined that CBD was successful in treating certain seizures. And some of these kids had just, you know, really, really severe seizure disorders. So long story short, we started searching around. There was a lot, even, you know, 3.5, 4 years ago, there was a lot out there. So it was hard to find what we were really looking for. We wanted a pure product, something that didn't have any additives. If we didn't want to give her prescription drugs, we certainly didn't want to give her anything natural that had additives in it that could be harmful. So we ended up finding a farm that sourced some pure and potent CBD. They sent us the samples. They sent 2 small bottle samples. So we decided we'd take it to determine, you know, to make sure that it wasn't going to cause any kind of intoxicating effects, because we were a little leery too. It smelled a little bit like marijuana, and so we thought we better try it. Yeah, so, you know, at the time she was about 3, 4, so we definitely didn't want her to have any effects from it. So we started taking it, and my husband, again, these were very small bottles of the liquid CBD oil, and my husband had, Emil, he had some, he had shoulder surgery, so he has chronic shoulder and back pain, or I should say he had. And it was pain that he was being prescribed, you know, opiates for Vicodin, Norco, things like that to control the pain. And he very rarely took it, so he kind of lived with the pain because he didn't want to take those drugs a lot because there's so many side effects. Well, what he found, even though he wasn't looking for this benefit, when we were testing out the CBD for our granddaughter, his pain, he was even dealing with a little bit of neuropathy that had started. Neuropathy had started around that time, and he was trying all these things and taking pills. He discovered that taking the CBD just after a few days just really knocked his pain out. I mean, it just knocked it out. And so, I took it too. I actually ended up it was working so well for him, I actually ended up kind of stopping after a few days and giving him mine. But, you know, I said, you can keep taking this, because at the time I wasn't suffering from any chronic pain. But an example of CBD's ability to shrink tumors is that I had a ganglion cyst ever since I was about 5 years old. I mean, and I don't know if you're familiar with them. It's a it's a benign cyst, but they're really hard to get rid of. Sometimes people, so some people have them removed and they grow back. I'd had this all my life, and in recent years I'd gained a little bit of weight, so it was even more pronounced. And people would always say, "Oh, what's wrong with your?" Because it was on the top of my wrist and it was like a big knot.
Yeah, I've had that.
You've had it, yeah. Well, I kid you not, it disappeared after taking CBD. It went away. So which was just crazy because I'm one of those people. It's hard to get me to be on board or something. I'm still like even when my husband's pain went away, I was thinking like, okay, is this a coincidence? Are you just getting well?
Right.
Or whatever?
Did he put two and two together? Did he just all of a sudden realize, hey, I don't have any pain and it's got to be the CBD?
Yeah, well, he put it together, and I'll I want to clarify. It wasn't that he didn't have any pain. It was that it dulled it to the point that he was just able to deal with it, and over time, like I said, with my ganglion cyst disappearing, I called the person who had sent us the CBD because I didn't have a lot of information at the time, and she hadn't made no mention of anything like that. And she said, yes, it does have tumor-reducing properties. So I kind of put that on the back burner because at that point we weren't thinking about getting into the business. But after my husband went and saw his physician, and, his physician, over a little bit of time, his physician saw that he wasn't using, the prescription drugs, and he told him in no uncertain terms that he had heard about CBD, and if that was helping him, and that it was actually so much safer for him than the opioids he had prescribed. And we started sharing with other people, and it was just so beneficial that we thought, after being in a state of some like semi-retirement, after having run businesses, for years and years, and thinking we weren't going to work like that anymore, but it was just such a good thing we had to share. And so that's how we started Life is Green.
Amazing. And how is your granddaughter?
She is doing very, very well. She's doing so well. Her seizures are actually controlled with the CBD. Her neurologist did ask us to maintain her regular seizure prescription at a very, very low dose. And now I actually went and was able to see her neurologist and speak with him a couple weeks ago. According to her weight, the low dose of the prescription meds that she was still on, because you can't just cold turkey, you can't just take people off those kinds of drugs. He says with her weight, it's like she's not taking it at all. So her epilepsy is actually being controlled by CBD, and an added benefit to that is that because she was diagnosed also as being on the autism spectrum at around 3.5, 4 years old, her attention span, everything's better. I mean,
really,
she's really doing well. She's speaking a lot because she was classified as nonverbal, but she talks a lot more. She'll sit down and read a book with you. I mean, she still requires a lot of energy. So I'm not going to say that it was it didn't transform her into a different person, but she's her attention span and her so it gives her more ability to learn and to be patient and observe things, because before she just couldn't do it. Yeah, so it really has helped.
Now, what products do you offer?
Well, again, I've been talking a lot about the CBD oil. So we really only have two main products as far as CBD goes. We have the CBD oil, which is pure and potent, as I said before. The thing about our CBD oil is that it contains two ingredients, and you could almost go so far as to say it's one ingredient. It's from one plant, 100% plant-based. It contains the organic, sustainably farmed cannabidiol, which is the CBD extracted from hemp, and it is a whole plant extraction, so it's a full spectrum CBD, and I'll clarify that in a minute. And then it's in hemp seed oil. So a lot of people, I've noticed that a lot of companies use coconut oil and vegetable glycerin and things like that to immerse their cannabidiol in, their CBD in. CBD, when it's extracted, is really, really thick, gook. So you couldn't even swallow it, So it has to be immersed. It has to be in a carrier oil in order to take it. And we chose hemp oil because it just makes sense that since it's a hemp product, we put it in hemp seed. So that's our number one thing. And then with that, we also formulate the CBD calming cream. We call it calming cream because it's a topical cream that just works wonders. It's a topical cream that works well for just any kind of pain, whether it's, chronic pain, arthritis. We've had people use it, when they've had, like sports injuries or just, regular injuries, knee problems. And it also, as an added benefit, it's a moisturizing cream, so it also works well. Some people have told me they've had some really good results with eczema or psoriasis or any kind of, skin condition, itching, dryness, things like that. So it's kind of like an all-purpose. We call it our, we're really pretty proud of that one because we formulated that one ourselves.
Now, let me just share with our listeners that I have purchased the calming cream this has been going on probably for about, maybe about 30 years. I've had chronic back pain. And then several years ago, I found out I have herniated disc. But through my younger 20s, I had scoliosis, and then, I ended up now having herniated disc, and I suffer from sciatica from time to time. So over the years, like back in the day, I remember I used to take what they called Doan's pills for back pain. That really didn't work for me, and, then I would just end up taking Tylenol. So then I would say probably within the last, maybe about 5-6 years, I've started doing research. Is there anything holistically that I could take? I was taking arnica gel. I mean, that worked, but, it was never anything long-lasting. And I've tried other different hemp creams, some creams were kind of like lotions, and, then I've, tried that salon pods, and, all these things stink. So it's like if you're working, you can't have anything on you because, you smell like Bengay. So it's been like a struggle trying to find something that worked and then didn't have an odor. So I came across your Life is Green, and I said, you know what? I read the properties, and I said, let me give this a try. And the first day I tried it, I didn't think I really felt anything. The second day, I got out of bed and started walking around, and I said, oh, my God, my back does not hurt because I have, this is chronic. Every day I've had back pain for years, and I just couldn't believe it. In my mind, I'm like, is my mind playing tricks on me, And I have been involved in this exercise program at my cancer center, and it's very intense. So I would, be coming home and then getting up the next day feeling like I got run over by a truck. And, I had put the cream on, and I said, oh, my God, I can't believe this has worked. My back does not hurt. So I'm thinking, well, this maybe is just a fluke. Maybe it's just a one-day thing. I took it the whole first week. No pain. And I said, oh, my goodness, Miss Jennifer, you have saved my life. And I'm not high. I'm going about my daily business, but I do notice a calming effect, but it has also made me sleep better at night because since my cancer diagnosis 5 years ago, I've had insomnia. It just from also the medications I've been on, and it put me into menopause, and I, wake up in the middle of the night, and with the CBD calming cream, it does calm because I have just been knocked out sleeping like a newborn baby, get up feeling refreshed, like I feel like a totally new person. So I'm like, this is the real deal. Like, where have you been all of my life? Because this is just amazing.
Wow. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm just happy to hear that. You know, we hear that a lot, and I love it. I mean, you just don't know how good it makes us feel. And like I said, you know, the CBD oil we source from a farm in Colorado, but we use that oil to make the calming cream, and we did a lot of research to determine what needs to go into that calming cream. Like our other products, there's no additives or fillers, nothing unnecessary in that cream. And the way that it's done, we don't even have to use any kind of chemical preservatives or anything like that. Some of the oils that are in there are kind of like naturally preservatives. But, you know, we wanted to do something that, and I know this is important to me with everything, and I know it's especially important to people who are dealing with cancer and other issues. You know, you want relief, but you don't want bad things going into your system. You just don't.
Yes.
And so, you know, we wanted to make sure it took us a while. We have some other products. You asked me a few minutes ago. I think I kind of skipped over that, how many products we had. And we do have a couple of other products, but these two are our main ones because some of the other things we make, you know, we give them to people to try, some of our other, just like our skin creams and things like that. And we have some pretty good ones out there, but it takes us a while to formulate these products because we try them. We have, you know, friends and family, you know, not just people that will tell us what we want to hear, but we have a variety of people trying, you know, testing out our products. And it has to be right before we put it out there. So when we played around a little bit with that formula, but when we got it right, Emil was like, make sure we have this exact recipe. We don't need to change it. We don't need to do anything with it. And we didn't. When we started out, I think our 1 ounce calming cream contained, I believe it was 120 milligrams of CBD. So I had a patient who suffers with neuralgia and neuropathy, and she needed something stronger. She goes, you know, I like it, it's good. She goes, but I'm finding out I'm using it a lot. And that's when we had like 120 milligrams of CBD per ounce. So I thought, you know, let me see if we can get more CBD into it. A lot of times you'll see creams that have higher numbers, but the packaging will be bigger. So this is, as you know, just a 1 ounce jar. So even with 120 milligrams of full spectrum CBD, that was a lot. But we decided that we'd add more, and we were able to bring our CBD content up. The milligrams of CBD in that 1 ounce jar, we brought that up to 420 milligrams of CBD per ounce. And so that's what you have. The size that you have is a 1 ounce size, 420 milligrams of CBD, but we do offer it in a smaller size. We offer it in a 1/2 ounce size, and that one contains, I think it's labeled 200 milligrams of CBD in that size, but it's really 210. So it's the same thing people are getting in the 420. We just wanted to make a smaller size just in case for whatever reason people needed to buy a smaller size. But yeah, I'm just so happy that it gave you the relief that it has because it does work. I mean, it really does. I have my personal experience with that. I mentioned that I didn't have a chronic issue when we started taking CBD initially, but I ended up having a knee injury. And again, I gained a lot of weight over the last, 5-6 years or whatever. And, your knees will let you know that they object to that weight gain at some point. So I'm an active person, though. I walk. I used to be a runner, and I'm kind of getting back to that now. But I had, I believe it was a torn meniscus, and that's a self-diagnosis because I had the same pain. I was at the time, COVID times, I wasn't comfortable just going into the doctor and being checked. And I thought, well, if it gets worse, I will. But I took CBD, my regular daily CBD, but I was also using that pain cream. In addition to doing what's normally recommended, like, using heat and ice alternately and resting, I used a brace. But I'm telling you, my knee is just almost like new now, and I'm 61 years old, so it's not like the young muscle repair that most people have, right? And I know I can only contribute that to CBD because I know other people who have gone through the same things, and some even have to get surgery, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, again, I want to be clear. If somebody needs surgery or if there's, you know, a medical procedure or something that you need, I'm not saying that CBD is going to prevent all that. And it's definitely important to see a doctor, to follow up. Most doctors are familiar with CBD. Our product is third-party lab tested. So if a person was interested in either taking the oral CBD or using the topical or both, you know, our lab reports are readily available. So in most instances, if you can show a doctor that you're taking a high-quality product that's third-party lab tested, they'll be on board, you know. So, I mean, it's always important to check with your doctor when you have an injury or an ailment or symptoms. And it's not good to self-diagnose. I do a lot of that, even though I do have a doctor, but I do a lot of self-diagnosis. So you know, you got to make sure.
I think we all do from time to time.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I also wanted to mention that a couple of weeks ago, my sister and I got a tattoo. And, you know, they tell you afterwards to use A&D ointment or, you know, Alcapor or whatever. So on my tattoo, I had a little cancer ribbon. And for whatever reason on the tattoo, the color wasn't showing. And then so my sister was like, it looks like you've been scratched, you know. So I was like, well, what the heck is going on? I kept putting on the A&D ointment, you know, like it. So it looked like I had like literally like an opening, but it was like two scratches. So I'm like, because she had to go over it, she said, to make sure that the color that I picked, that it would, you know, come through. But I guess apparently when she kept going over it, she, you know, broke the skin, and it's like was scratched and looked like it had like split open a little. So I'm using the ointment, nothing's working. I mean, thankfully this is like a little tiny ribbon, but you know, I tried Alcapor, nothing. I used Neosporin. It still looked like it was not healing. So then I said, you know what? I wonder if I could use my calming cream. So I went online to see if it was okay, like if you could use CBD, and it recommended that you could use that on tattoos. Jennifer, I tell you, within 1 day of putting that on my tattoo, the next day it had already, little scratch, like openings had closed up, started closing up.
Wow. That's
so you can also
amazing.
use it to put on your tattoos.
So that's a new one for me. But I do know that my daughter and a couple of other people had just had like minor burns, you know, cooking burns, and use the CBD cream on, and it won't even blister, you know, like it normally, you know, burn that you would normally expect to blister, some little, you know, kitchen burn or whatever. We've used it on cuts, you know, have people that have used them on scars and things like that. So yeah, that's amazing. CBD is incredible. It has amazing healing powers, and I really wish that it was like a way for people to be aware of what they're getting, because, you know, Life is Green, we are very conscientious about the products that we put out there. We're a small family-owned company, and so I'm so happy to hear that you have had wonderful experience with our product, but we put our heart and soul into it. One of our mottos is we make our products for people we love, and it's true because, you know, like I said, my granddaughter, Emil's mother, my daughter, you know, we actually make things that we want our people to be able to benefit from, you know, and if you're giving something to your, you know, 4-year-old granddaughter or your 12-year-old grandson, you know it has to be something that you believe in. Yeah. So the issue sometimes is that CBD is, you know, people just say CBD. So the things that you're saying about your experience with your tattoo and with your back pain, if you know, there are some other good brands out there, but people have to really be careful about what they use, because someone could hear you say that, and if they say, oh, she said CBD helped her back, but you can get CBD anywhere from the gas station to a dispensary, online, you know, and they're all so different. They're really, really different. Yeah. So we've had people say, oh, yeah, I've tried CBD, it doesn't work.
But you haven't tried Life is Green.
Exactly. That's so true. So one of the ads that we do. I don't know if you may have seen it, but I do something every once in a while that's called, CBD math. So it's like people really have to check the math on their CBD because numbers, how marketing, numbers mean everything in marketing. So big numbers on a big bottle does not mean that you're getting a high-quality CBD oil or topical cream. You need to be able to do the math. Yeah, so for example, like I said, my bottle, our bottle at Life is Green said it's a 420 milligram CBD content in that 1 ounce. But somebody else will say, oh, well, I have a 2,500 milligram CBD, but then you find out they have like 10 ounces or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's very
That's what
important to
I've
understand.
I've experienced that, getting the bigger bottles, and I'm like, this stuff, like, it works for maybe an hour or two, and I'm like, well, what the heck? So then you feel like you wasted your money, but as soon as I got my order from you and I saw the size, and when I, refrigerated it as you're supposed to and took the top off, I knew instantly, I said, this is the real stuff. So like I said, the first day I was like, I didn't feel anything. The second day I was like, okay, wait a minute. And then, like I said, for that week, I said, I knew it. This is the real deal. So I have a question. Now, for those that have been, trying to find CBD products to help whatever ailment or issues they've got, how do you know what companies have high-quality products? What do you look for?
Well, I think the most important thing, like I said, number one is the math. You got to look at the CBD math. When you're looking at, you can't just go by the numbers. You need to really to see how much CBD you're getting per milliliter. Most of it, like the oils, are per milliliter. Sometimes the solids are, people list them by, milligram, milliliter, or ounce. But you just need to see what the content is. Don't just look at that big number and think, oh, this is 5,000 milligrams of, CBD. This has to be good. No. You need to look at the size of the bottle and determine what's in there. That's the number one thing. Number two, you need to find out what your CBD contains. So, again, we're talking about the oil. With Life is Green oil, it's just, CBD in hemp seed oil, and we use hemp seed oil as our carrier. With our cream, there's just the CBD, the cannabidiol, with the hemp oil, and then we use some essential oils. And the essential oils we use are all pure organic essential oils, and we only use what contributes to the relief of pain. So we wouldn't just add something because it smells good, or we don't change colors and things like that.
Okay.
We've just done research on a couple of, essential oils that really help the CBD work, because some of these oils and herbs and things like that, especially when you're dealing with natural ingredients, sometimes they counteract each other. So it's not always like the more the better. You got to make sure something's going to work right together. So those are the top two things. But number three is that, once you have determined what, how much CBD is in your jar or in your bottle, and then your number two, what's in it, you want to avoid any kind of chemicals or preservatives. And I want to mention, just because number three is my big thing, but I just want to mention when I talk about what's in your CBD, I'm a real label reader, and I have been even before I started CBD. I love natural products. I try to avoid processed things as much as possible, especially, over the last couple of years. I've really tried to do that. As you get a little older, it gets more important to try to, eat better and take better care of your body if you want it to last as long as you do. So you can look at CBD labels, especially topical creams. And a lot of times if you go to a store or a smoke shop or wherever you can just find these things on the shelf, in most cases you're going to find so many ingredients that either they're too small to read, or you just get tired of reading, you can't pronounce the ingredients. It's just like anything else. You want to avoid things that have chemicals in them, because if that's the case, you might as well just do Bengay or, a prescription topical or something like that. Because if you're going to go natural, you need to go natural. But number three, first and, most importantly is that once you get that information, what's in your CBD, how much is in there, you need to verify that it's really there, because unfortunately in this industry, there are a lot of people that make promises. They're not going to expect you to buy something and go and have it tested. So you have to make sure that the companies you're working with or the product that you are buying is sold by, made by a company that does third-party independent lab testing. So, for example, with Life is Green, we have a lab. We have a couple labs, actually, that we work with, depending on who's available, and there are many credible labs, and they'll test to make sure what's in your product, that you're actually delivering the amount of cannabidiol and some of the other cannabinoids that you're promising. You have to make sure that you're not getting over, the 0.03 THC, so it is actually regulated and legal CBD, from hemp. And then another thing that's really important with CBD, and this goes for your topical and, the ones that you ingest especially, is that hemp is a magnet. So a hemp plant, the hemp plants that we use or that our CBD is derived from it's our organic hemp, and it's sustainably grown. So these are sustainable farms that use natural pest control methods, and just do everything they can to make sure that they're getting the best plant to start with before the cannabidiol is extracted. If you're not careful, hemp will take anything out of the soil that's there. So there are farmers over time that would just plant hemp before the CBD boom, and there's so many other beneficial uses for hemp. But even before people started, using hemp for textiles and things like that, there were farmers that would just plant hemp in a field to clean their field out. So if there were any harmful minerals or pesticides or lead or anything in your soil, hemp will draw it out. So now that sounds scary. Yeah, that sounds scary, but it's only scary if somebody's selling you some CBD or any other extract from hemp that is not organic, that has not been, taken care of. And the only way that you're going to find out that your CBD doesn't contain pesticides or harmful minerals, lead or fungus and things like that is if it's tested by a lab. So when you get a chance, I don't know if you have, but if you go on our website and you view our lab reports, you'll see how much CBD is in there, how much THC. But then as you move on, there are other pages, because some lab tests will only tell you, and believe me, I've visited enough companies to know, some of them will just tell you we have X amount of CBD, we do this, we do that. I want to know if you have any lead in your product, if you're using any pesticides. And there are a zillion pesticides that they test for. So it's a pretty complicated lab screening, but it's worth it to make sure that you're not either ingesting something harmful or putting something harmful on your skin.
That is great information. What I would like to say is, although, we are encouraging as a consumer that you check out these companies, what I want to say is forget about all these other companies and go to Life is Green to get the real CBD. So, Ms. Jennifer, if our listeners wanted to get in touch with you to either learn more about CBD or to purchase these wonderful products such as I have, how can they do that?
Well, they can visit our website, and the website is lifeisgreen.com. So it's Lyfe spelled with a Y, and it's Lyfe is green, like the color, .com. And I need to say that Lyfe, the reason it's spelled with a Y is because it actually stands for something. It's live your full existence. So it's Lyfe, live your full existence.
Amen.
And and we came up with that because this is not only, as I said when I started talking to you today, it's not only for people that are treating certain conditions or experiencing chronic pain. It's something that I take every morning, and it really helps you get up, get going. It's good for sleep. If you're taking it, the oil, the way that I do, it works well to help you focus, and it's just a nice thing. And as you said, even with the topical cream, I mean, the scents, the different, the CBD initially and its entourage, the other cannabinoids that are present, and then the few essential oils that we use. Even with the topical cream, as you mentioned, it's very soothing and calming. I'll rub some around my neck sometimes before bed, and it just puts you in a different headspace.
Yes,
and really
I feel so relaxed.
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. Oh, another thing I wanted to say about that, too, and I don't know, you tried it with your tattoo, but this is another great thing. Now, I know personally at this time you don't take the oil, but when I get a headache, I haven't taken Advil or Tylenol or anything like that in a couple of years now, because if I get a headache, even in the middle of the day, I'll just take a little bit of CBD oil, because you can't take too much of it. It's not like other things that you can, overdo or whatever. So I can, even though I take it in the morning and sometimes again at night, if I have a headache, I'll take a couple drops of CBD. But with the ointment that you have, my husband, Emil, he realized that he could rub that on his head. And he always wants to do that to me. But you know how we women are. I'm like, don't rub that oil on my face, but it's non-common.
I might break out.
Yeah, but it's not like that, because it's, hemp doesn't clog your pores. So the hemp oil in it actually is fine. And if you rub that on your temples or your forehead, and we've had a couple of other clients that say the same thing, they don't take the oil, but they can actually rub that cream on their temples or on the back of their neck, and it'll even relieve a headache in most cases, so it does a lot. It does.
So, now that you just mentioned, if you put it on your face, it doesn't clog your pores. Do you have a face cream? Are you thinking about a face cream or something like that? Would that work?
Well, we do have a cream. We have a couple of creams. We have a hemp and honey body scrub that's really good. It's a moisturizing body scrub. Now, that doesn't contain cannabidiol. It contains hemp seed oil. And I just want to clarify really quickly, because some people who are not familiar with CBD, they might be confused. Hemp seed oil, which is our carrier oil for our CBD, hemp seed oil comes from the seeds of hemp. It's just, you can buy hemp seed oil at the grocery store. You can cook for it, whatever. It contains hardly any, if any, CBD. So if somebody's just saying, here's some hemp oil, some hemp seed oil, you won't get those benefits. But it is still very, very good for your skin. Hemp seed oil is very good for your skin. So the body scrub that we sell, and it is on our website, again, at lifeisgreencom, it's not your everyday body scrub, because it's made with manuka honey, and it's made with hemp seed oil and some other organic sugars. So we don't use cannabidiol in our body scrub. You'll see people advertise, I have a CBD soap, or I have CBD body scrub. CBD is way too valuable to me to wash down the drain, so I don't use.
Right, that's
I don't
true.
use CBD. I don't use the actual CBD in our body scrub, but we do have 2 body creams. We have a hemp and mango, and we're going to be releasing, actually next Monday, we're going to be releasing a hemp and shea cream, and they actually do contain CBD, not in the concentration that you're getting in the calming cream. So if someone was really wanting to use something for pain, I wouldn't really recommend that, but it is something that has a lot of skin benefits. It has a relaxation benefit. And if you're not suffering from chronic pain, but you just want something that's going to relax you or, help you after a workout or something, those 2 creams are really good. The hemp and shea and the hemp and mango are really good creams. You can use them on your face, If you want to use them on your face, you can, because, again, they don't clog your pores or anything. But to answer your question, we have not, at this point, formulated a specific cream for your face. And I know a lot of people, many people, and we've talked about this. This is something that, we've been considering. Many people want something that's specific to a problem. So they want an eye cream. They want a face cream. They want something that's going to firm your neck.
Like, would it help with your wrinkles and bags under your eyes? And
well, like I said, the cream that you have will do all that. So, we can formulate other creams that, because of marketing and our global society and the way that we're kind of wired these days, we want things that are specific. But what's better than having something that you can use in many ways and be successful with? You know what I mean?
So, So you know what? I'm going to experiment now, and then I'm going to bring you back on the show to discuss what I found if anything that I'm
that'll be
trying
good.
has worked. Yeah, and
that'll be great.
I am going to try the CBD oil, but let me ask you this. Can you put that in like a drink or like a smoothie or something? Or do you just have to, just take it raw, as you would say?
Yeah. See, this is another thing. And some people will probably hear me and think, oh, that company is boring because, we could sell flavored water and different drinks, but to answer your question, like they say, oil and water doesn't mix. Now, if you I've dropped a couple of drops of CBD oil into some tea that I'm having at night just because I like the aroma and it's, comfortable. But the best way, if you're taking CBD oil, the best way to take that oil is to put, the drops that you need under your tongue, hold it there for 30 to 60 seconds before you swallow it, and wait 5 minutes before you drink anything, because that large vein under your tongue is going to help absorb that into your bloodstream, and that's just the best way to take CBD. Now, they do have, and I've had the opportunity to do this, but have just chosen not to, and it doesn't mean that it's bad because it might work for somebody, but there are some CBD water-soluble products that I see out there on the market. And so people are saying that, they have CBD cocktails, CBD tea, or what have you. But when you really study it, and again, maybe I can come back next time and we can look at some of these other products. But when you really study it, it sounds fun to get CBD water or whatever, but you're just not getting enough that's going to make any difference. You know what I mean? You can drink 24 ounces of CBD water, and you're not going to get as much actual cannabidiol as you would get just taking that the few drops of oil.
Right,
because
you're probably diluting it. That makes sense. I thought about maybe if I put it in my smoothie. I'm scared. I'm scared to go raw.
Well, yeah, if you put it in your smoothie, it'll be there. I mean, but you're not going to get the maximum benefits that you would get. You just won't, and it's like like I said, even when I looked in, it's been about a year now when I looked into some of the water solubles, because I knew from a marketing standpoint that was something that people would probably enjoy, but I just couldn't find a pure enough product that was going to be help. I haven't yet. It's not to say it's not out there. I just haven't found it.
Okay. So if I want to then just take baby steps, how many drops would you recommend I start off with?
Oh, you should always start slow and low. So like with CBD, it won't hurt you. So even if you take, if you take it a few times a day, it's not going to, make you sick or anything like that, but it'd just be a waste. So we recommend like 10 drops is like your normal dose for a day for people that take it daily. Some people that want to take it again at night, if they have pain or insomnia issues, they might take, 10 more drops or 5 drops. But if you start taking it, I would advise to try like 3 or 4 drops at first. See if you feel anything.
Okay.
And it's real important too. Like you were saying with your initially, it's real important when a person starts taking CBD, take some notes. First of all, identify what you're looking for with the CBD. What you're trying to help feel better, and then take some notes, because, like I said, a person with severe chronic pain, if you ask them, do you still have pain? You've been taking CBD for 20 days. They might say yes, but is your pain a 1 or is it a 5? And we found many people that have been like 6s or whatever off the scale, and then they're like, you know what? I'm having this nagging pain, but I'm realizing now I barely notice it. You know what I mean? So everybody's different. And everybody, I want to say quickly, too, before we end, the CBD works with a natural system that our body has called the endocannabinoid system. So our body naturally, makes cannabinoids. Endocannabinoids. We should be able to take care of ourselves, and we should be in balance. But because of all the other factors in the atmosphere, our food, and other things, and over generations this has happened, so not just recently, but especially now, and with the high stress levels and things that are going on, we're just kind of out of balance. So what CBD does, it brings everything back into balance. So it's not a miracle drug, and people ask, well, how can it help so many things? CBD doesn't really do the work. It puts your body in a position to work the way that it's supposed to, and that's a real important point. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
the
wonderful.
endocannabinoid receptors, we have receptors in our endocannabinoid system that, CBD affects in different ways. And there's still so much research that needs to be done on it. But it's interesting because I watch these commercials and, there's a drug that says, this drug can do this, and this. And because it's not, a natural product, people can make all kind of claims. But with CBD, they're just pretty strict. So anytime somebody goes to my website or my Instagram page or whatever, and they may see something that says CBD may help you do this and this and this, I'm confident that CBD is able to do many things, but I just don't have the legal authority to make those claims. So if I sound like unsure, I'm not unsure at all about CBD, but we just have to be really careful. That's the FDA regulation. Yeah.
Right. But I can testify that using the calming cream has helped my back, and I am so happy. I feel just like a new person. So, Ms. Jennifer, I just want to thank you. If I could give you a hug, I would.
Well, hopefully we'll get to do that one day real soon. I would love to be able to meet you in person. But in the meantime, the hug that I can give you in the meantime is that I'm going to give you a code so that people that you want to refer will be able to use that code and actually save on the calming cream. Because I really want people to be able to try it, definitely.
Great. That sounds wonderful. I'm just so excited to have talked to you today. Thank you so much for giving us a CBD lesson. It was very informative. Hopefully it cleared up some misconceptions that I'm sure a lot of people have had over the years between the difference from the CBD from the hemp and the marijuana. So thank you again, Ms. Jennifer. Many blessings to you and your family and your granddaughter. I pray that she continues to have wonderful health, and I just, I'm just really so excited because for years I have been in so much pain, like you can't sit for a long period of time, can't stand for a long period of time. If you're out walking now, I have to, get different shoes or sneakers. I can't wear heels anymore, and this cream has literally changed my life, so I'm just so thankful that I was able to find out about your company and that you have been on the show to share your personal journey and give advice to our listeners. And I highly recommend to our listeners, please, if you're suffering from any type of chronic pain or illness, if you're a cancer survivor, this has helped people with inflammation. It can help to, she had a ganglion cyst, it helped remove that. Her husband suffered, from some issues. So I just really highly recommend this product. No need for you to go looking at any other companies. This is the real thing, and it does not get you high. For those of you that are thinking, I don't want to be high, it's like a drug. No, this is not. You'll just, if anything, feel more relaxed. So, again, thank you, Ms. Jennifer, for coming onto the show. And hopefully
thank you so
we
much.
will talk again.
Yes, so thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for sharing your experience because that's what keeps us going. I mean, that means everything to me to hear that it's helped you. And I definitely love what you're doing, so I would love to be able to plug people into your podcast because I've listened to a couple, and I love what you're doing and wish you the best, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you, Miss Jennifer, and hopefully I will have you back on the show because I'm going to then talk about me taking the oil and using the cream for maybe my face and some other areas. I do have a scar from where I had my chemo port, and so, when you were mentioning it might help with scarring, I'm going to try that and see what happens with that. So hopefully I'll have you back on the show, and we'll do a part 2.
Okay, good. Thank you. You have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Boob Talk, and I'm your host, Cynthia Rogers. You to our special guest, Jennifer Green, owner of Lyfe is Green, for enlightening us about CBD and the difference between CBD from the hemp and the marijuana, telling us about the benefits of CBD if you suffer from chronic pain. I've been using the Lyfes Green Calming Cream for my chronic back pain, and it has literally saved my life. So I feel great. It doesn't make you feel high, so I encourage you to go to her website and make a purchase. I will be posting that special code for our listeners. Life is green. Until next time, God bless.
You have been listening to Boob Talk with your host, Cynthia Rogers. Remember, never give up hope.